While the youngest child of the Griffin family is known for his evil, maniacal nature, he has good moments. Stewie is a sociopath and obsessed with killing his mother, and wants to achieve world domination. Although he has more evil moments than good, Stewie's character has had more soft moments as the series has gone on. We'll be taking a look at both his good side and his evil side, as well as some of the murders he's committed throughout the series. Hey guys, I'm Brad with Wicked Bench, and these are Stewie Griffin's deeds, good to evil. Starting things off, let's take a look at some of Stewie's more courageous, noble, and selfless acts throughout the series. These are Stewie's good deeds. The gold medal of good goes to saving Brian's life. In the episode Life of Brian, when Brian was killed off after being hit by a car, Stewie was the most torn up about Brian's passing. 2 episodes later, Stewie, with the help of Vinny, goes back in time to save Brian from being hit by the car. This is the most selfless thing Stewie has done, because it was done out of the goodness of his heart and the compassion and grief for his missing friend. In the episode Mr. and Mrs. Stewie, he also stopped his girlfriend Penelope from murdering Brian, leading to a fight scene. The silver medal goes to helping Chris. There are many episodes that show Stewie helping his older brother. A good example is when Stewie helped Chris get ready for his date with a girl with Down syndrome. In the episode, Stewie performed his song Down Syndrome Girl as he got Chris ready. In the episode Secondhand Spoke, Stewie hid in Chris's backpack to help give him advice while he was at school for how to deal with his bullies. The next example is when Peter and Brian were gone trying to retrieve the Thanksgiving turkey. In Peter's absence, Stewie coached his brother on how to become the man of the house. And finally, when Stewie, along with Brian, took Chris in Stewie's time machine to see different moments throughout history to prepare him for his upcoming history test.
What's that over there?
Oh, that's Double D Day.
The bronze medal goes to comforting Brian. When Brian was tripping on mushrooms, Stewie helped him calm down. Brian even cut off his ear, and Stewie helped him stitch it back on. This is definitely one of Stewie's kinder acts. Next is saving Lois's life. Lois is held at gunpoint by news anchor Diane Simmons. Just before Lois is shot, Diane was miraculously shot by a mysterious source. It's revealed at the end that it was none other than Stewie. Oh, wait a minute, doesn't Stewie want Lois to die? Well, we have to argue that although this was an act of good, it wasn't done entirely out of selflessness like some of his other good deeds. The only reason Stewie saved Lois's life was so that he could be the one to kill her. As he stated, if anyone's gonna take that B word down, it's gonna be me. Next is destroying Superstore USA. While this isn't the best deed in the world because it caused a lot of destruction, but Stewie and Brian using a tank to destroy Superstore USA was nonetheless a good deed. In the episode, the store was using up all of the city's power. At the end, they restored the power in the city. Next is killing Bertram. This is tricky because just like killing Diane Simmons, this also involves murder. However, it was done for the greater good. In the episode The Big Bang Theory, Stewie killed his half-brother and villain of the series, Bertram. Bertram wanted to go back in time to kill Leonardo da Vinci, ultimately erasing Stewie's existence.
You're an assassin, you overrated caricaturist!
However, it was shown in the beginning of the episode that Brian and Stewie created the Big Bang. Stewie had to stop Bertram from erasing all of existence. Saving the entire universe makes Stewie a hero. The last in the good section also leans more towards bad, but it was done with a good intention. It's faking Brian's death. Brian became depressed after he felt like people don't want to value a canine's life as much as a human's. Stewie puts Brian's collar on another dog and burns down a liquor store. When Brian sees how much the Griffins are upset that he's gone, he's touched by Stewie's gesture. While it may not have been great to burn down a liquor store and kill another dog, this was one of Stewie's more selfless moments because he wanted to show Brian how much his life matters. Alright, we got the good deeds out of the way. I think it's time to take a look at the longer list of Stewie's evil deeds. We're actually going to be starting with the lesser evil and working our way down to the most evil, specifically murders. First is humiliating Brian. There are a number of instances where Stewie goes out of his way to mess with Brian and humiliate him. After Brian teased Stewie about his height, Stewie got back at Brian by shrinking him. and things go south when they both shrink to microscopic size. Another good example was when Stewie kept going back in time to mess up important moments in Brian's life just to humiliate him. He even stole his peanut butter jelly time song. The worst yet has to be when Stewie made Brian eat his feces. When Brian and Stewie were trapped in a bank vault, Stewie pretended that he would get sick if he sat too long in a soiled diaper, so he made Brian eat his poop. However, Stewie later revealed that he made Brian do it because he just wanted to see if he could. Next is signing up him and Brian for the army. Stewie signed up for the army, and when he found out he could win a $100 bonus, he signed up Brian too, without his permission.
You are both in the army.
We're both what?
Things got out of hand when they got sent off to Iraq, and they had to take desperate measures to escape, by doing things such as pretending to be gay and shooting each other in the foot. Next we have cutting off Brian's tail. While this wasn't done out of pure maliciousness, but rather out of carelessness, cutting off Brian's tail definitely counts as a bad deed. Stewie tried to help impress Brian's girlfriend's parents by hiding the fact that he's a dog. When Brian's tail started to wag, he asked Stewie to make it stop. Stewie made it stop by cutting the tail off. Next is stealing Brian's car. Brian leaves Stewie alone in the car, and then Stewie takes the car for a spin. He's a baby and doesn't have much experience behind the wheel, meaning this does not end well. Stewie crashed and damaged the front of the car because he was trying to win Justin Bieber tickets while driving. What's the lesson here? Don't talk on the phone while driving, especially if you're a baby. Next is framing Connie D'Amico. Stewie goes to high school disguised as his alter ego, Zach Sawyer. When he became popular, he went on a date with Connie D'Amico. Everything went well until Connie found out about Stewie's baby-sized penis, and he became the laughingstock of the whole school.
Is there more underneath, or is that it?
Stewie gets back at Connie by revealing his true identity in front of everyone and framing Connie as a child predator, and she gets arrested. While this definitely was cruel, we do have to argue it's not as bad as some of the other things Stewie has done, as this was out of retaliation. We should also mention that Connie is not a very good person, so she saw this coming. Next, we have using Brian's DNA to impregnate himself. While this wasn't entirely done out of malice because Stewie did it to get closer to Brian, it was still bad. Stewie did it without Brian's approval, and they ended up with a bunch of Stewie-Brian hybrid babies they could barely take care of. Due to Stewie being irresponsible, they abandoned the babies at an animal shelter.
I'm still keeping all the gifts from the baby shower.
Next is tying up Anne Murray. When Stewie and Brian had a newfound passion in listening to the music of Anne Murray, they visited her home to find out the meaning behind one of her songs. This visit, however, quickly turned into a hostage situation when Stewie angrily tied up Anne Murray and held her at gunpoint after finding out she never wrote her own songs. Next is another hostage situation. It's getting back at Bart's bully. In the crossover episode with The Simpsons, Stewie tried to impress Bart by getting back at his bully, Nelson. While this wasn't done entirely out of malice, because Stewie was doing this so Bart would like him, it still wasn't okay for Stewie to terrorize another kid. Stewie kidnapped Nelson, tied him up, and literally made him eat his shorts. Bart wasn't impressed by Stewie's gesture and instead was freaked out by it. The next is Grand Theft Auto. When Stewie and Brian were in Colorado trying to get Rupert back, Stewie ended up in a ski race with a family who took possession of his stuffed bear. Stewie lost the race. However, not being over Rupert, he threw hot tea in the son's eyes. Stewie and Brian took Rupert back and made a run for it. Without any transportation back to Rhode Island, Stewie carjacked a random guy on the street by holding him at gunpoint, and they made off with his vehicle. Next is assaulting Brian. Brian loses a bet with Stewie and failed to pay him the money he owed. Throughout the episode, Stewie assaulted Brian by mercilessly beating him until he paid up. He even tried drowning Brian in the toilet, and then he shot both his knees and lit him on fire. Stewie finally got his way when Brian gave in and paid him back after all the injuries. Next is committing arson. Stewie attempted to murder his girlfriend, Olivia, when he found her in the cardboard house with Victor. He lit the cardboard house on fire knowing both of them were in there. Luckily, Olivia somehow survived the fire as she returned in a future episode. Therefore, this doesn't technically count as a murder. However, the actions were just as malicious. Next is creating an evil clone of himself. This wasn't entirely intentional because Stewie was originally trying to make himself more evil, until he accidentally created an evil clone instead. However, it was still rooted in Stewie's need to cause terror and harm. the evil clone went around murdering. For example, one of the people he tried to kill was the Kool-Aid Man. However, we have to give Stewie props for realizing when the situation went too far and tried to stop his clone. The bronze medal of evil goes to attempting to kill LOIS. This isn't as bad as the next few because Stewie never actually goes through with killing LOIS. However, his relentless attempts deserve a mention. Trying to kill your own mother is not good. Stewie has an entire weapon room that LOIS doesn't know about and is constantly using devices to scheme against her. While we don't see Stewie try to kill LOIS as often as he used to, it's still something he does every now and then. However, there's always something that gets in the way whenever he tries to do it. In the episode, Stewie Kills LOIS, we actually get to see what would happen if Stewie killed LOIS and took over the world. However, it was only a simulation and didn't actually happen. The silver medal of evil goes to letting his therapist die. While this doesn't involve Stewie directly murdering someone, it still takes the cake for the silver medal. Stewie opened up to his therapist and finally let his guard down to reveal secrets about himself. Stewie's therapist began to suffer from a heart condition, and instead of getting him his medications to save his life, Stewie let him die. Stewie only did this because he was afraid of the world or anyone else finding out who he really is. As bad as this was, it still technically wasn't a kill done out of anger, revenge, or hatred. We're not counting it as a murder because Stewie wasn't planning on his therapist dying, nor was the direct cause of his death. The therapist just died from a heart condition and he didn't do anything about it.
This is not your day.
And the gold medal of evil goes to murder. Stewie has killed a lot of people, so stick with us. Usually, Stewie's reason for wanting to kill someone is out of revenge, jealousy, anger, bitterness, or just petty. But let's go through them. First, we have Jeremy, which we would argue is not as bad as some of the other murders Stewie has committed. This death was more unintentional. However, Stewie did assault Jeremy and kidnap him. When Stewie had a crush on his new babysitter, he was jealous over her boyfriend Jeremy. Stewie assaulted Jeremy and hit him in the back of a car to make it look like he went missing. At the end of the episode, Stewie realized he accidentally left Jeremy in the trunk, killing him. Next is Denise Crosby. When Stewie zapped the entire cast of Star Trek The Next Generation to his room, he demanded that they spend the day together and answer his fan questions. However, when Denise Crosby responded, "But you're a baby," Stewie didn't take this well and shot her. Next is the Man in White. When Stewie celebrated his first birthday, he was afraid that the Man in White would put him back in the womb. This, of course, being the doctor who did Stewie's delivery on the day he was born. However, Stewie mistaken Meg's cult leader as the Man in White and murdered him. Next is the infamous Christmas home invasion. While we do have to argue that this started with good intentions, it quickly turned deadly. Stewie traveled to the North Pole to kill Santa, which is not a good deed. However, when Stewie and Brian arrive, the North Pole was not what they expected, and they find out that Santa would die if they don't save Christmas. Stewie and Brian take Santa's place and try to deliver all the presents in one night. However, things don't go as planned when they arrived at their first house, and it turned into a home invasion and double murder. The father of the family woke up in the middle of the night, and when he found Stewie and Brian, he mistaken them for burglars. Stewie killed him with a baseball bat and hid him in the closet. When the wife and daughter woke up and found the father's dead body, Stewie killed the wife with a baseball bat too, and tied up the little girl. Not only did Stewie and Brian ruin Christmas, but 2 innocent people were murdered, and a young child was traumatized. This is by far one of Stewie's worst deeds and one of the show's darkest moments.
Oh my god, we're in the wrong house.
Next is New Brian. The Griffins got a new, younger dog named New Brian. Stewie didn't like the new dog and the way the family was using him to replace Brian. When New Brian revealed to Stewie that he humped Rupert, Stewie got his revenge by murdering the new dog in a very brutal way. He chopped him up and put his remains in the garbage. However, he framed it as suicide. Next, we have Brian's siblings. You probably didn't see this because it was a cutscene from the extended DVD version of the episode, but this was by far one of Stewie's cruelest acts. When Stewie wanted Brian to buy him tickets to a Hannah Montana concert, he held Brian's siblings hostage until he got his way. He tortured them and killed one right in front of Brian. This has to be one of Stewie's most cruel murders for killing his best friend's long-lost brother right in front of him. This last one may come as a surprise, but it's being with Penelope. This is Stewie's worst murder yet, because it involved multiple terrorist attacks that most likely killed hundreds of thousands to possibly millions of people. Stewie had a new girlfriend named Penelope who was more evil than him and encouraged him to go around killing people and committing heinous crimes. They go from doing more harmless crimes, such as planning a bomb to go off every time Mort checks his wallet, to starting wars between countries. Some of the terrorist attacks they committed include blowing up the Great Wall of China and bombing the Eiffel Tower. They started a war between Pakistan and India, which led to endless destruction in the Middle East. Stewie also destroyed Copenhagen with a giant tidal wave. Things went so far that Brian took notice of Stewie's increase in evil activity due to Penelope's bad influence and told him he should stay away from her. Penelope didn't take this well and told Stewie to kill Brian for her. Although he didn't do it, it's worth mentioning that Stewie came close to killing his best friend because of this relationship. Alright, that's the list. Let us know in the comment section which of Stewie's deeds you think is the most evil. Be sure to hit that notification bell and binge more of our Good to Evil playlist. But most importantly, stay wicked.